पूरी खोलो, कोशिश करो। पूरी खोल रखी है? हाँ, पूरी खोलो एकदम। So as we saw in this video that the patient was having ptosis of the left eye, on even on voluntarily trying, the patient was not able to lift the left eyelid. So the patient was having ptosis of the left eye. So this comes us to the topic of ptosis. So you can have the screenshot of this board for a ptosis flashcard. So the normal palpable fissure of our eyes is 9 to 12 mm, and the upper eyelid is 1 to 2 mm below the limbus. Limbus is the sclerocorneal junction, and the lower eyelid just touches the limbus. So ptosis is the narrowing of this palpable fissure due to inability to open the upper eyelid, or when the eyelid covers more than 2 mm from the limbus. So both the ways ptosis can be defined. Now ptosis can be due to paralysis of two muscles can be there. So one is our LPS, that is levator palpebrae superioris, and one is our tarsal muscle or the muller muscles. The LPS is supplied by the third cranial nerve, whereas the tarsal muscles is supplied by the sympathetic system. When there is paralysis of the LPS muscle, the patient cannot voluntarily raise the eyelids. Whereas if the paralysis of tarsal muscle is there, the patient can voluntarily raise the eyelids. In the LPS muscle paralysis, generally moderate to severe ptosis is there, whereas in the tarsal muscle paralysis, that our Horner syndrome, mild to moderate paralysis is there. So defining ptosis, like mild will be less than 2 mm, and moderate will be 2 to 4 mm, and severe will be more than 4 mm. All right. So since our patient was not able to voluntarily raise the eyelid, so most probably the lesion might be of the LPS muscle, and also the patient was having a severe degree of ptosis. Now coming to ptosis. So ptosis can be congenital ptosis, which can be due to the congenital absence of the LPS muscle or disinnervation of the LPS muscle, or it can be the acquired ptosis, which mainly concerns us. So it can be due to the, either it can be neurogenic ptosis, for example in Horner syndrome, where the sympathetic fibers are affected, or it can be due to the third cranial nerve palsy. It can be due to neuromuscular junction disorders, for example in myasthenia gravis, or in the cases of poisoning like our snake poisoning and botulinum poisoning. Now, talking about the ptosis of myasthenia gravis, it's generally asymmetrical ptosis, and it's a fatigable ptosis. The patient says that when the patient wakes up in the morning, the eyes are all right, but as the time progresses during evening, the ptosis of the patient increases. It can be due to myogenic reasons, for example, myotonic dystrophy or mitochondrial myopathy, or it can be due to mechanical causes, that is due to the local eyelid edema, tumors, or local eyelid causes. All right. Now, so ptosis can be unilateral or bilateral. Our patient in this video had unilateral ptosis. So it can be either due to the third cranial nerve palsy or unilateral Horner syndrome or lesion of the upper eyelid. It can be bilateral, for example, in myopathies, in myasthenia gravis, or in bilateral Horner syndrome, or like in snake bite or botulinum toxin. Now, ptosis, along with ptosis, we definitely have to see the pupil to come to a closer diagnosis. So, if ptosis is there and small pupil is there, most probably our diagnosis is due to Horner syndrome, because in sympathetic system there will be ptosis, meiosis, and hydrosis, and loss of ciliospinal reflex. If along with ptosis large pupil is there, then it may be due to the third cranial nerve palsy, and most likely to be a compressive lesion. Whereas if a normal pupillary size is there, it may be due to infarct of the third cranial nerve or myasthenia gravis or myopathies. Now let's talk a bit about what can be the compressive lesion and infarct is there and how they are different. So if this is our third nerve, so the pupillary fibers are arranged in the periphery. P for pupil, P for periphery. So if a compressive lesion is there, it will start compressing from the periphery, so pupillary fibers will be involved. Whereas the blood supply of the third cranial nerve, it starts from the periphery and ends up in the middle. So the periphery part is supplied very good. So if the pupillary fibers are involved, that is the compressive lesion, it's likely to be this because of the compression. Whereas in cases of infarct, the pupillary fibers are spared and the middle fibers are generally involved. That's it. Thank you.